Este podcast é patrocinado pela BRZ Insurance.
Welcome, Tony.
What's up, Tiago?
So great to have you here tonight, man. Thank you for taking the time, to do this with me.
Thank you for having me. This is a really exciting place. You got the setting all good, and it's just a really, really nice atmosphere. So thank you very
Dude,
much.
this is awesome. We've been trying to do this for a while, and our schedules never allowed us to get together. We keep actually, running into each other here and there, out there, but this is unique.
Yeah, I think the last time I saw you, we were on a boat.
We're on the boat. It's been a while. Yeah.
So you were stuck with me.
So how's your Portuguese?
Oh man.
Tudo bem?
I only know.
Já esqueceu. Forgot it.
Hang on. Hang on. Let me think. I think I only know one word, which is picanha.
Picanha, yeah, that's important. That's important.
That's all I know.
That's a very important
That's
one.
the only one.
Yeah, that's the top sirloin. That's an important one to know. My man, I'm always amazed every time I see you. I see your energy and your black booklet. You probably fill one of those out every few weeks or so.
Once in a while, man. Everything goes in here.
Everything goes in there
a little bit, and it comes back out.
And I admire what you've been building so much. But before we get to where you are and where you're going, I would love to rewind the tape and start from where you came from. So tell me, I know there will be a lot of emotions here tonight. Tony's going to be sharing with you some things that I might have not even shared before. We're going to dig deep. So who's Tony? Where'd Tony come from?
So I'll pull it back into just before I was born. And my parents came from Vietnam, I think mid to late 70s. Okay. And they didn't know each other when they came, so they found each other here. Kind of like how I found my wife. My my father wasn't with my mother yet, but kind of like how I was with my wife, he wouldn't leave her alone. So she was forced to just get to know him.
Oh my God! Imagine you.
I know, dude.
Some women, you don't stop.
Yeah, Danielle, thank you very much. Danielle's my wife.
When she watches this, she knows.
So she'll know what I'm talking about. But no, my dad was, according to my mom, was one of the ugliest dudes she's ever met.
But he was a great salesman, I guess.
I think so.
So you got the genes
or
from
she
the
was
guy.
blind. I don't know. One
combination of both.
Yeah. So, but no. I think the persistence with.
But it turned out okay, man. So you look like your mom. That's the secret.
I think so, man. Well, I'm trying to grow my hair out. Actually, you got some good good do there.
I got some good hair going.
Yeah, man. So
at least that.
My dad was in the States. He was working a lot, from what I remember, or not remember, but he was a truck driver. He came to the States sponsored by a family in Vermont. Very young, I remember digging holes in Vermont.
Wow.
To swim in, and maybe I was jumping in puddles. Who knows? Kids be remembering crazy stuff.
So you're in Vermont.
Yeah.
That's how. So you were born up there.
No, I was born in Boston.
So you're born in Boston,
Yes,
but then
yes.
family moved up there.
Yeah, my dad was sponsored by a family in Vermont, and then had his best friend, my Uncle Gil.
Got it. So for someone who's watching us right now, when you say he was sponsored by, he was sponsored by for what?
Oh, yeah. So I think a family in America, if I'm not mistaken, has to kind of like vouch for a person.
Okay.
So coming from another country.
Okay. So also maybe financially, that kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
in order to make sure, hey, I'm going to make sure that this guy would do right, whatever, that kind of thing.
Provide for himself, not be a...
you can say in the show, not be a shitty person.
Not be a shitbag citizen, right? So my dad eventually became a U.S. citizen. But, before that, he needed some help, and then the family in Vermont sponsored him and just taught him the way a little bit. And then my Uncle Gil at the time was one of his best friends. And I was born into the life 1981, and then all I know was, my family, my 4 siblings, my Uncle Gil. So I bring Uncle Gil up because he and my dad owned some body shops and some businesses together.
But before you got there, right, the 5 siblings, you guys were very poor in the beginning.
Oh, yeah.
So tell us, those memories, right? How old were you? Those early memories.
What I remember. So we grew up in. So I was born in Boston.
Okay.
And we grew up.
What year were you born in?
81.
Holy cow!
Yeah, so
Whitey Bulger years, Asian Whitey Bulger, Boston. It wasn't easy.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was, I remember. I'll tell you about a time later as we moved out of there, and there was a drug bust, and I didn't know. And mind you, I lived in the projects for about 15 years.
Holy cow.
For 15 years of my life, and then we were there, and everything was normal because what else do you know?
Right.
So if you're living there and that is life, you don't know anything else.
Right.
So when you hear firecrackers, which now I look back, they weren't firecrackers at all. There's no freaking firecrackers. It wasn't July every day. So, those firecrackers now I recognize as gunshots.
Wow.
So
and you're little.
Weird. Yeah. And it was just, it was fun because to me, in our minds.
Was it a big Vietnamese community back then?
I think so. My other families, some of my other families were there, but a lot of Hispanics and Black.
And so you started, and I love this. So one of the premises of this podcast is that most of the people here start from zero or the negative when they immigrate to the U.S., right? In Portuguese. Yeah. So I've done, a lot of these in Portuguese, and you're the first one in English. And your story is no different. You started from zero or negative.
Yeah.
So then your dad moved out with your uncle, moved out of the city, and then he started his own business. How did that happen?
Yep. So my dad and my uncle had the car business, or as my uncle, my dad was working there. And as I see and remember it, he was just working and building his pile of money, right? So that's how I think our families did it. We just built some piles of money, and then we shared it with one another to help each other open businesses or whatever the case may be. So opportunity came around 1990. I was 9 years old, and my family bought a convenience store, 179 West Central Street in Natick. So right now it's called J&D Convenience Store.
I saw that picture. Yeah. I saw you posted a picture there.
Still Joseph and Diane. So my dad, his name is Dio Ngo, but Dio Van Ngo, but he chose Joseph as a
back in the days
American
you had to
name.
simulate, right? It was the whole idea. If you don't simulate, you don't make it anywhere.
Yeah, it's hard somebody calling a different name than us Americans.
Man, I think today is so unusual, right? And my view, and this is my view of today's world, we're going to read in history that Trump split this country. I agree that Trump split the country, but he also unified. He unified the non-whites. For once, Latinos care about what happens to Asians. Asians care what happens to African Americans. African Americans care what happens to, Latinos and Indians. So, we feel each other's pain. I would say 10 years ago, it wasn't the case. It was like, it was an Asian issue, leave it there. It was a Latino issue, leave it there. But today we came together. Yeah. And I think that's powerful. So, something that it's going to go down in history. So I can just imagine having to change your name in order to kind of fit in.
I know. It's a crazy thing. But actually, I think if you think about the time then, I've done similar. I will get to it. Yeah, we as in my parents was American, right?
Yeah.
They moved here. They loved it.
Yeah.
My dad bought freaking Firebirds. I remember bell bottoms with a big ass hair. He had more hair than my mom, and she had a lot of hair.
So he was fully Americanized.
Oh my God, the dude had like a brush in his pocket, and I was like, the wind seemed like it was always blowing his face, and. So, but he was super duper American with my uncle Gil from Italy, Pimentel. But anyway, so did you want me to go to the store?
No, yeah. So I'm just going over this here. So at the age of 9, you're behind the counter, you're grinding. I used to do the same. Best experience of my life.
Yeah, and I didn't even know it at the time.
Yeah,
I was like.
You don't realize how those things kick in until you later on.
Yeah.
So what were you doing?
But no, at 9 years old, when my parents first bought the store, it was a playground almost. And to me, it was, again, when you don't know, when there's no baseline and that's life, you just live it, right? You're there because you're told to be there, and then you do it. So 9 years old, I was behind the counter, and then mind you, I was the oldest sibling, so every one of my siblings were 2 years younger. So I was 9, 7, 5, 3, and then 1, all the way down to
Wow.
my 5th kid, my parents' 5th kid. So with that, I was working behind the counter, people coming in, and mind you, we had like, I don't know how many customers coming in, but you can imagine now a store.
That's why you do good math, right?
People would just come in, yep. The register, it didn't do the math.
No, it didn't do the math. Yeah.
No, counting the change, it doesn't.
I don't have this book here. I have this book in my shelf at home, but it actually talks about this. It's a math book on backward mathematics on how do you calculate change faster.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, so I learned how to literally take money because all we had was cash.
Yeah.
What the hell is a credit card in a convenience store? So I learned how to count really quickly. Yeah. And I had to because I could probably get slapped by my parents if I gave the wrong money change out. Selling cigarettes to people, punching in lottery numbers.
Man, my mom had a restaurant, so I know.
Yeah.
I did the same thing.
Yeah, so it was really fun at 9 years old. And then, there's a little button. I don't know if you know this, but there's a little button right there. So imagine this is me at the counter and you're a customer. And there's a button right there, okay?
For someone to try to rob it?
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
You push it, the cops come.
Yeah.
Super fast. Now I know. I've never pushed it. All of my siblings, all 4 of them below me.
You used to push the button.
They used to push, and every time the cops would come. And it's funny because in that L-shaped plaza, the Mill Street Plaza right there, we were the only store that didn't get robbed.
Wow.
And there was a Honeydew Donuts, Chinese restaurant, aquarium, card shop, nail salon. All of them got robbed at least twice.
Why was that? Do you think because
they
knew that you brought that the button was there?
I don't even know.
That's amazing.
I don't know if the cops were all because we're really chummy with like the local cops, the firefighters, and plus it's a 9-year-old kid. What the hell?
And where did you go to middle school?
Taft and Latin Academy. Boston
you went to Boston Latin.
Academy.
That's dope, man. And then high school?
High school was Shrewsbury. Oh, so whenever people ask me, my upbringing, I put it in a nutshell on I was raised blue collar, grew up in the projects, raised blue collar, and then had that education in Boston inner city, and then we bought that store, and I actually ended up moving to Shrewsbury.
Oh, so you moved all the way out to Shrewsbury back in those days.
So I had a blue collar upbringing and then a tiny white collar education a little bit.
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
So you're... And then you worked at a convenience store. Your dad ended up doing some other things as well later on. How old were you when he started branching out to other businesses?
Actually, no. He did that before, in the 80s. So he did that in the 80s, and the store was one of the last things that he did because he passed away in 2004.
I'm sorry to hear
that,
man.
That was a pretty rough time because...
How old were you when he passed?
23.
23,
yeah.
Young. So you're the oldest sibling.
Yeah, dude. It was hard for me, but it was probably a lot harder for like my younger ones because they're barely getting out of, the youngest one was like 16 or something.
Yeah.
And it's hard,
I can imagine, man, and having that responsibility. I mean, I lost my dad a month after I was born, so I never met him. So it's different, but I can just imagine having that connection, growing together, growing the business together, and then eventually one day,
change
at an early age.
Change my mindset on business and life actually a little bit.
You're a great example of someone who didn't go to college, right? Because you didn't go to college.
I did I went just to like hang out, and stuff. And read books and get bored.
Because you graduated, in 2000 high school?
Yep, 2000 high school.
Right. So now, from what I heard is you're raised in Boston, moved to Shrewsbury. And for people who don't know, Shrewsbury, it's a town right outside of 495 with Mass Pike. It's actually 495 and Route 9. Almost Worcester, right? About an hour away from Boston. Beautiful town. Lots of greens. And then you finished high school. And what did you do?
So I finished.
Your dad was alive still.
Yes. Yep. So it's funny because my crazy is my parents moved away from Shrewsbury in 1998.
Yep.
And I stayed with another family because I wanted to finish my high school. I was right in the middle of high school. So I was a sophomore turning into a junior. And then the school allowed me to stay because I was so involved with the school, did sports and everything, so super involved. So I just had a meeting with the school, and they said, well, if you can find a place to live, you can stay. I was like, great. So I found some family to live with. I just stayed in their basement, paid them $500 a month at the time for a freaking room.
And that was a lot of money back then.
Dude, I think about it now. I'm like, holy shit, that's a lot of money.
They
are smart. Yeah. Thank you guys, by the way. But no, they really helped me shape who I am today, because they allowed me to kind of like finish off what I started in high school.
Yeah.
And then 2000 I graduate. We sold the store in 2000-ish. And then my parents moved from Shrewsbury, 98 to Quincy. So within that time, it's a little foggy for me, because they became homeless. So
your parents?
Yep, my parents with my 3 siblings. So me and my Daniel, my second, the next one.
So what did you do with the money from the store? Burned it?
Something.
Yeah, man.
Burned it, lost it, got had with bad investments.
Okay.
So there's a bunch of combinations of certain things.
Yeah.
So you
did your dad gamble at all?
I don't know. Yeah. Some it's funny. Sometimes, right? Like for example, I used to do funny things at the store.
Right.
Like take money out of the register,
right.
for example. And it's funny because I'm like thinking to myself, how can my parent? No, I'm like, I got away with taking
right.
money from the
right.
register, but my parents were not stupid. They knew, right?
Yeah.
Because I look back on it, and I know because they've told me, and they're like, yeah, we just let you because whatever reason it was.
Yeah.
And sometimes you're oblivious, not oblivious. You let it happen because I think the alternative is either worse or you don't want to know. So I feel that way about my parents.
Yeah,
you know,
those situations.
So it's like, what does it matter if I know?
You can't change it. Yeah. But the counter argument to that, having a kid, removing. I know because I used to do the same with my mom, but my mom was on the other spectrum. So if she caught me removing the money from the drawer, she would give. Yeah. Oh no. Yeah.
Oh no,
almost.
I've gotten those.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. Like we were brought up with sticks and
Oh
stuff.
yeah, the old school way. Yeah. Man, that's crazy. And then you graduated high school and you got into car sales. How did that happen? Or you did something before?
Yep.
Yeah.
So I got out of high school, and then I moved away from Shrewsbury, closer to my parents. So my parents were in Quincy area, Dorchester, Quincy area, and then they ended up being homeless at a point too. So I actually, the projects. My grandma still had a unit over in the projects that I grew up in. So I went there and stayed with her for a couple more years for college. That's right. So I lived with her in Brighton, where I grew up.
And where'd you go to college for a couple of years?
So I went to a few schools: UMass Boston, Quinsigamond Community College. No, not Quinsigamond. Quincy Community College. And Mass Bay Community College.
Mass Bay,
yeah. So I did.
Yeah. I went to Bunker Hill.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for 2 years. Then I transferred to Tufts.
Oh man.
Yeah, I was a high school dropout. At least to finish high school.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, and then took some courses.
7th grade.
Yeah.
Yeah, immigrant life wasn't easy in East Boston. I got here, like the accent.
Making money in the streets.
Nah, it was hard, man. Being Latino in Eastie back in 2001, like all the shit that you listened to. You had Bloods, Cribs, 187.
Yep.
I remember those days. Yeah, you had to join one of the three, or you get beaten up by all three.
Yep. That was my cousin. Actually, my partner's brother, my cousin, was jumped into one of those. I don't remember which one.
Had all the the Cambodians hanging out in Revere beating us up, and it was intense. People don't realize how Boston was rough back in those days. Oh yeah. I'm a Winter Hill kid. So that's interesting. All right, so now you did 2 years in college. You weren't able to figure yourself out. What happened?
Worked at a gas station, Dave Johnson. Thank you, Dave Johnson, for accepting me in. So my Uncle Gil back in the day.
What'd you do? Pump gas?
No, it was a C-store.
Okay.
So it didn't even pump
convenience
gas.
store. Got it.
So
no, I did it worse. I pumped gas in the cold.
No.
Outside.
No, hell no. I was nice and heated.
It's
all good.
Some nights I would close the shift, on a suit, drinking vodka.
Oh man.
Oh yeah.
No, that was good.
Brutal.
We were inside a C-store. It was a Hess gas station right on Quincy on Hancock Street.
Yeah.
Hancock Ave, whatever. across the new station there. So Dave Johnson, he is in the multi-level marketing multi-level marketing company. So I grew up in the 80s knowing that business, being in front of it. My Uncle Gil was a very successful multi-level marketing guy with Dexter Yeager and Amway and all those companies. Yep. So he really, I was exposed to it. I didn't know what it was, but I just saw it and appreciated it, right? So Dave Johnson was in a multi-level marketing company, and he asked me to join. So I was open. I looked at it.
Best sale experience ever.
Dude, amazing.
I tell everyone, like, dude, they should everyone should do Herbalife. Everyone should do, some type of multi-level marketing, right?
Be open.
Yeah.
At least.
For the training.
Yeah. That's it. Or
for the freaking training.
The people, whatever you're going to learn from it. Yeah. Don't, I mean, people can do whatever they want and say whatever they want to think, but you know what? Try it.
I went to one of the best schools in the country, Tufts University, and the best classes were taught, and I have to say thank you to Jack Derby on this year, right? So thank you, Jack, for that. It was a sales and marketing class. I'm so blessed that I end up in this class, because everything else that I was taught, it helped me to think. It helped me to, make critical, reasonable, thoughtful decisions, and look at the world from different lenses. But making money, that comes from hustling and from sales.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's the old saying, you either are a salesperson or you work for a salesperson. There's no other way around.
Sold or being sold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then the multi-level marketing. So tell me, what was it?
I think it was called Melaleuca at the time.
Oh, yeah, Melaleuca. Yeah, the oil, the stinky oil.
Yeah.
The thing was huge.
Yeah, creams, oil, whatever.
Yeah, I remember that.
I like the idea of whatever it was, but like you said, it's the business, it's the sales, it's the meeting, it's the speaking, it's the objection, it's the whatever, right?
It was the training.
Yeah. So anyway, he gave me a book, man, and it was... from this guy right here, Robert Kiyosaki, called Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Right.
And when I read that, holy crap.
That opened your mind.
It
clicked.
It just did something. 2001, okay? I remember.
And that's a book that everyone should read.
Yeah.
That's a book that everyone, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, in multiple languages. It's a simple book. Give it to your kid. Learn it. I'll get to it, but it's your turn. So tell me more.
It does something to one. If you're ready. If you're ready, you'll do it.
Yeah.
But if you're not ready, you wait, you'll do it later. Yeah. Or if you're never ready, you go into the ground, it'll do it to somebody else.
This is very insightful. You know how many books I read today that I interpret them completely different than when I read them 10 years ago?
Correct.
Yeah.
I read that book twice a year.
Yeah.
So I listen to it a few times, but then I actually read it 2 times
physically
a year.
insightful.
So listen to it while I'm driving, because then, Danielle, my wife, one day, it took us about over 10 years for her to ask me for the book, because I'm always like, read it.
Right.
When you tell your wife or somebody to do something, they're like, hell no.
Especially.
So, but if her friend says, hey, read this book, she's like, hey, great idea. I'm like, whatever. It's all good as long as you have it by your bedside. So anyway, he gave me the book, and I read it, changed my mind, and then shortly after that, we opened a second store. Hess opened a second store in South Boston. I opened that one up. It was a big C store on Colony Ave on ND Street, right in Southie. And we opened that one from the ground up, and I was the assistant manager there. And then from there, holy shit. So my dad passed away in 04.
In 04, 3 years later, right after that.
And then I was at the C store, and then 2004, that was October, and then November, my coworker gets shot in the gas station. They still haven't found the murderer, by the way. Wow. So I was the one that showed the police
the scene,
the tapes. So it was right around October. And, my friend Larry, who is still with us, his brother, who I love dearly, I had to show the police.
That's crazy.
And, my dad...
See, a lot of people don't realize that this shit happens here in the U.S.
Right here,
if you're watching us. Yeah, in Boston.
Like, it just, in and out, and then never caught. That's 2019, whatever, 16 years ago.
Yeah.
Never caught.
Yeah.
Like...
02, 03, that was before your dad passed, right?
No,
05.
Right.
Oh,
1 month after. 1 month after.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it was that
clicked again.
I'm
sequence of things.
I am fucked up. Like life, me personally.
Yeah.
Like this, I'm like shut down. My dad passed away. My friend, I quit that job, and then I shut down for a little, like a year maybe. I might have been smoking weed, drinking. I have no idea.
No, yeah.
I mean, it was fun, probably. But
but emotionally makes a huge impact,
it
right?
Just, from the outside.
Because you didn't get closure from your dad, and now you lose a friend.
Yeah.
And you get to see the whole thing.
So I, got out of that funk.
And then the crisis came right after that too, 07, 08. Yeah.
I got my life and health. Actually, my insurance stuff.
Oh, so you got into insurance too?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yep, so I sold insurance for a little bit, New York Life.
New York Life, yeah.
So my uncle.
Another great sales training.
Yep, exactly.
They have a great sales training program.
Yeah, so they had a really nice program. I was there, sold some policies, life, long-term, short-term, whole, whatever. And then I was like, F this sucks. Because I probably sucked at it, so I said this sucks.
No, I mean the program is structured for people to bring their network in and then leave.
Yeah,
that's basically a word.
Yeah, in a short story, yeah.
Sell it to everyone in your first degree network,
circle, and then go out,
convert.
And I got nobody else,
and then you quit.
Yeah, it was pretty much like that.
And then you never get paid for those policies again. It's genius. It's a beautiful business model.
Crazy, yeah. I got paid right up front, which is nice. It was
I know, but the retention.
Oh, later.
Yeah,
it was tough.
Those are gone.
Yeah. Those are tough.
That's interesting. So then, that's cool, man. So from 2010 to 2018, what were you doing?
So I'll back up a little bit because after
New York Life.
After New York Life, 2007, I lived with my uncle right there as well. And then I got my real estate license in 2005 as well. So when I got my real estate license, I actually learned to sell real estate. So I learned how to change uses of homes by turning a large multifamily down the street in Haverhill from a single family into 4 condos. I had no idea what the hell that meant at the time. But I was there witnessing it. And then up in Sandown, New Hampshire, we turned a 3 season home into an all-season home so that somebody can live there right on the water.
So you learn how to repurpose properties.
Dude, I didn't even know I was learning it. All I did was, why are we putting insulation and walls and siding and this and that, putting a laundry room there? What the hell's that for?
That's crazy.
Like now I think back on it, it's so relevant in everything that we're doing, in the real estate industry, construction
and
side.
we're going to get there. That's crazy. So this is how you get your foot in the door.
I didn't even know I was learning it at the time. So tiling with my dad.
That's fascinating.
Yeah. So it's like by osmosis almost.
Well, it is and it isn't, right? So I say this to younger people all the time, right? Between your early 18s, your 20s to 30s, get exposed to different things.
Yeah.
Learn what you don't like. I mean,
it's hard
because you really don't know what you like.
Yeah. It's crazy because we know this now, like, 41 right here.
Right.
And now we were.
Man, what have you been eating?
We were just.
Gotta share your diet with me.
We were just talking today, and my buddy, he's like almost 50. He's like, I don't give a fuck about a lot of things anymore because why? Why bother? Even me, I just don't even care. And you said earlier, and I wanted to touch on that a little bit because, like for me, it just literally rolls off.
Well, the truth of the matter is, I've learned to live it this way, right? I don't care about others' opinions because deep down inside, I truly know who I am.
Yeah.
So, your view of me reflects on your biased self.
My filter.
Yeah, and your labels and your filters, yeah.
Somebody's filter and hatred toward another person or feelings toward another person. Really, it's just self-reflective.
Self-reflective of what it is.
On that, superimposed.
So that's crazy. So then you got exposed to real estate. So now you're selling homes, learning how to fix homes, getting your foot in the door, seeing those things. Yeah. And then the market start.
Yep. I think the market.
2012, 13, 14.
What the hell was it? 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so 7 I started selling cars. And then I was working a crap ton in Boston on Com Ave with Herb Chambers. Great company.
Oh, yeah, so it went back to the car sales business, too.
Yeah, I was there first time.
Got it.
First time in 07. So I started 07 car sales, and then it took two years.
So that explains why you're so good at selling, bro. You got the multi-level marketing, you got the car sales experience, life insurance experience, and then you went into real estate. You can't. This is it. This is the recipe for success.
Then I went to car service. So I managed a service bay, 26 bays first, 22 bays later, and then 16 bays.
Whoa.
So I managed the shops.
Right.
So for Honda,
you still had your insurance license and everything?
It probably expired.
Yeah.
But my real estate license, I kept renewing it once in a while because, family was bored and I was bored, and I was like, sure, I'll help out. And it was annoying actually to do because it's not my forte.
So then, you've learned how to become more confident and communicate better through these experiences. That's for sure. I mean, one of the key insights that I've gathered from listening to you, Tony, it's this, right? The key to succeeding is, number one, education. Even though you never went to college, you kept learning. Number two, you got exposed to industries that are obsolete, right? Stuff that no one would do it. And, you actually have to be an immigrant or a second generation immigrant, which is, according to Harvard, U.S. born to one or more parents who are non-U.S. citizens. That's actually, it's classified as second generation
right?
immigrant.
That's what I thought. Yeah. Somebody, I was having that discussion with somebody. They're like, first. I'm like, whatever.
Second. So you consider the second. And then that's a factor. And then another factor that I've heard from you multiple times, it's the relationships that you're building. You keep bringing these names back. They're all in your life and never left them behind. Yeah. It's fascinating.
I have a relationship.
And it comes full circle.
Yeah. I have a relationship story for you later on, or whenever we're ready for it.
No, yeah. So now we're moving forward, right? So then let's move forward to 2018. Because now we're going to talk about the dream here, Lofty Homes. Yeah. Lofty Homes is an interesting story. When I heard this from you, I was like, man, that's genius, right? Because Chinese are importing stuff into the U.S. all the time. In your home country, Vietnam, manufactures high quality wood products and bunch of other things that comes into the U.S. Free trade. It was a genius. When I saw you and you're trying to speak Portuguese, I was like, I like this guy, man. He's smart. He gets it. And look where you are. So tell us, how did Lofty Homes came about?
So my cousin Andre, and so I'll back up before Lofty Homes real quick.
So how did you get back to the real estate again? Because you're at the servicing center, and then
Yep. So the car, I was there for, I was doing cars, I guess, let's say 12 years.
Right.
All right. So I was in the car industry for about 10, 12 years. I can't remember. Let's call it 12 years. Okay.
Yep.
So while I was in the car business, made a bunch of friends, a bunch of people, more. Like, people are coming into the service side. And you have to remember this. On the service side, people are coming in almost angry. They're not there because they want to be. They're there because they want to get their car serviced or their problem taken care of on their car, right? So if you think about whenever you're going to the car dealership, you're going there reluctantly almost. You're not there happy to spend freaking $300 on a freaking oil change, right? Or spending $1,000 on a noise that you can't find anywhere. So anyway, that's what I was dealing with, right? So rainbows and sunshine was what I was slinging every day.
Right.
So people come in, I'm smiling. They leave, they're smiling. So what happened is I found construction. Solar, actually. I found solar. So my buddy kept saying, hey, join solar industry 2016, 15, whatever the hell it was.
Wow.
And he said, join the solar industry and join me. And I was like, all right, fine. So one thing.
So you did.
Yeah, I joined his company, and I went through 5 different solar companies because they kept buying each other out.
Right.
There's a lot of money in that somewhere, in America. So
still is.
It still is. There's a lot.
I got a buddy of mine who I interviewed on a podcast, Brazilian, kids making over $1 million a year selling solar door to door.
It's
crazy.
It's really fun.
Yeah.
It's a fun time back then.
And I'm happy for him. He crushes. He cracked the nut on this.
Dude, it's nuts. What's his name?
Brando.
I think I know him.
Yeah. Brando. I'm sure you do.
On the boat.
Yeah.
Also.
No, he was not on a boat. That was Gabi.
Or he was in Boston
Gabe.
on
Yeah, Brando, you've met Brando before. Yeah.
I think I saw him.
He's a beast.
I think you came up as well. But anyway, so solar came up, and then eventually, again, with solar, in people's houses, literally in their house and at their table, meeting people again and seeing their roof. talking about construction, seeing their roof and being structurally sound or not, learning from electricians, learning from roofers, learning from carpenters. So there's a lot going on there in just the solar world.
Right.
And again, I took everything that was positive from it and then just, stashed it in there somehow. And then my buddy asked me to join his company to be a project manager. And at the time, I didn't realize what a project manager was because there was no job description. It was just come and have fun and make money with me. I was like, okay, fine, let's do it. So my friend Eddie started his painting company back in 2001 out of Babson College. And thank you, Eddie, by the way. Made my life really easy. So I just, a lot of love for Eddie.
Yeah.
His birthday was just recent. And anyway, he taught me what a construction company was and could be. So he didn't teach me.
So he's a Babson College graduate that started
Immigrant
a painting company.
Yep.
From where?
From Newton. Brookline,
Cool.
Watertown. Yep.
Genius.
Fucking genius.
What's his painting company name?
Smart Coats.
Oh, yeah, I know Smart Coats. So he started.
Yeah.
Good for him, man.
Yeah.
Very successful. I've seen them around.
Very, very smart mofo. So with that, I was
He's a marketing shell.
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
Sales and marketing.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. He's sales and marketing.
Everything. Yep. That's it. Just sales and marketing.
Genius.
Yeah. So he taught me without teaching me a lot of things, and with me, I fill in the blanks with things that everybody fills in the blanks with everything that they already know through their filter. So as I'm learning, doing, working, I'm filling in the blanks of what is not taught, right? With everything that I already knew. So by the time 2-3 years rolls around, Andre was making, actually before Lofty, Andre had a company, cell phone case business. So if you have have your cell phone right there?
Yeah, somewhere,
Yeah, so if you have your cell phone, right, there's a cover on it.
Right, the case.
Yep, the case. So Andre figured out how to make these cases in China and, for X amount of dollars and then shipped it over here and made over $100 million after he sold his company. Yeah, so money is a game at this point. So it's really fun because once you realize that, everything becomes easy and irrelevant.
Yeah.
That money is not ours, but it's right there. You can see it.
It's to be invested, yeah.
Yep. No, I'm just saying, like, he sold the company, then it made $100 million.
Right.
And I have a podcast on that. Plug.
We'll put the link here. The link here.
But anyway, so Andre had a building materials company. Phone case company overseas, one of his offices, and then he worked here in Massachusetts, and he sold to everyone in America. He figured out a lot of things in the telecommunication world, and then almost overnight, the dude was processing $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 per hour, probably.
The crazy thing is, and this is fascinating, right? How underlooked these type of businesses are. It's not sexy. It's not Facebook. It's not Instagram. The school that I went to, all my classmates, they wanted to do sexy stuff. Most recently, I met a kid that is focused on the waste business. Yeah. And I'm like, dude, you're going to crush it. No one focuses on these things, Stop and think about it. How many kids are focused on CSX, on railroads? Yeah. And we got to move shit.
Yeah, you got to.
How are you going
to get it from wherever it is made to here?
Yeah.
Or doesn't matter, anywhere.
The trucking business, you name it, right? But the new generation's like, if it's not cool, it's not sexy. If you don't have ping pong and free food, then I'm not there.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy how, you got to, show. There's, a balance.
Bro, I know way more undocumented immigrants with homes than actually PhD graduates. Right?
Yeah, hell yeah.
How many undocumented immigrants with multiple homes that are, if not fully paid, halfway paid, well off with a successful cash flow business, and then you have a PhD struggling to get by.
Yeah. I didn't even talk to you about our struggles, mine and my wife's struggle.
Right.
In the beginning, So you fake it. I don't even know we were faking it. It was just more like the lifestyle. Right. So you live it and you're like, oh my God, this is normal. You don't even know and realize how not normal it is. And how can you build wealth with living that way, So.
The mindset, right?
Yeah.
It comes that way. Rich Dad and Poor Dad talks about this a lot, right?
Yeah.
So
Buy
broke is temporary.
Yeah.
And what poor? It's permanent.
Forever. Yeah. So every time I hear, "Oh, I'm poor," I'm like, "No, you're not."
Yeah, you gotta change the rhetoric.
Change the word, just the one word, one thing, one thought. It doesn't even matter. You don't believe it, then you know what? There's no hope.
So Andre then sold the company $100 million. Now you guys have, you have dough to work.
Yep. So you
got into so you put that experience to work.
He sold the company, I think, in 2000. Vin, you remember when Andre sold the company by chance? 17, 16?
Yeah, somewhere around.
So he sold the company, let's say 16.
Back in 2018.
16, 17.
It's when you and him kind of hooked up, right? Yeah, so 17.
He started, so maybe 17, 18. He sold the company. Then I was a project manager for Smart Coats, right?
Right.
So I needed 500,000 square feet of something for 1,200 units in a client of ours in Boston.
Right.
So it was quite an ask, right? So high volume, we good?
Yeah.
So on high volume, Andre heard numbers like that,
right,
and he was like, "What the hell is that?" So I explained to him, "There's this flooring that is 500,000 square feet in quantity that I need for these 1,200 units, or this one building or whatever."
So you went sourcing.
Yep, he did.
He went sourcing right away.
I had no idea what the hell he was doing.
Right.
This mofo flew to China,
right,
and visited a handful of factories,
right,
and then came back. No, while I was in China, he called me. He's like, "Hey, what's the floor?" So I explained to him what the floor was, and then he just went out and just talked to factories in China,
right,
not Vietnam at this time because the tariffs weren't imposed yet. But anyway, in China, he was talking to, I think, 5 to 7 factories, and then he found one that he liked and trusted, and then he bought, I think he bought 2 containers. I can't remember. Spent like almost $100,000 on 2 containers of flooring. Rented a space from his college, our college friend, his roommate, and from college.
Right.
They had a warehouse in Boston.
Yeah.
Yep. So we rented that space and then flew back. The floors came, and then boom, he calls me and goes, "Tony, I got those floors." I was like, "Oh, cool." I'm like, "What are you talking about? I didn't order any floor. I didn't want any floor." So he showed me his floors that he got, and mind you, this is where
the square footage price was like a fraction of the cost.
It was a fraction, dude. But here's the world that we don't know as normal people. When you spec something out, when you specify a material on a plan, architectural drawing, or whatever, and there's no substitutes because you have to use a certain manufacturer, for example, let's call them a flooring competitor,
right?
One of the other ones that's not Lofty Homes, right? So that architect spec'd that out, and then Andre shows me Lofty Homes flooring. I'm like, can't use that because we cannot substitute it because the flooring that they spec'd was available easily, right? He's like, "What?"
So now he's stuck with all the flooring.
He's stuck with 2 containers of flooring, okay? So now I didn't know this because the guy's so nonchalant about it. He's like, "Oh, okay, whatever." And I was like, "Oh, cool." But
what are you going to do with these containers?
But me, I'm naturally curious and annoying.
Yeah.
So I'm like, "What are you doing with the floors? Let me sell them," right? So I just grabbed them and I went back to Smart Coats, talked to Eddie. I was like, "Yo, dude, look, there's floors." And he's like, "I can't use them right now." So, couldn't use them anyway.
Yeah.
So Andre and marketing designed packages for the sample boxes.
Right.
I don't think I have one right now.
Right.
But anyway, the sample boxes were made to fit the flooring. So we had the flooring that was 4 feet long and by 7 inches wide.
Yeah.
We just cut them in planks
that
fit inside the box.
Right.
It was nice. It was designed. So when you open it, it was like, it didn't have a light in it, but it sure shone like a light. So when you open it up, the floor is shown in your face. You pull it out. Damn, Lofty Homes floors.
Boom.
That's what people saw. So what I did was everywhere I went, I was like, "Here, you get one. You get one. Here, this is flooring. This is Lofty Homes. This is So that went on for like a long time. Still today.
I remember. Yeah, I've seen the specs around. Yeah.
Yeah. So we still do that. I still do that today. We all do that today, right? Because we all love what we've created.
Yeah.
And there's a sense of
So that's how Lofty
there.
Homes distributor became about.
Yeah. And then
from a crazy idea, buddy of yours hopping up.
Yeah.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Yep.
And he's also Vietnamese, right?
Andre?
Yeah.
My cousin. Yeah.
Yeah. So then when the tariffs kicked in.
Yep. Oh, tariffs kicked in. We had to move because we added cabinets to our mix as well.
Right.
So we imported cabinets, flooring, and other materials. So we tried wood and glass even. We talked about
crazy,
glass.
Man.
Yeah, so window glass for like buildings and stuff. Nobody knows this. I never told anybody.
No, window glass is a huge business.
Yeah.
Like, if there's such a high need for even that bath. In the US. They bath. Yep. And the problem is the installers. It's a joke. You can't have enough out there. I've dealt with facades for multiple locations, and it's a problem.
Yeah. It's just getting it cut, getting it working with.
This is crazy. As we getting close to wrap this up, right? So you built this. Now you're not focused on money anymore, right? Because you passed that phase.
Hell yeah, we're focused on money, but it's not the forefront because everything you do is the result is.
Yes, tell me about those beliefs.
Yeah, so when you focus on money, for example, you have a target, right? It's a reticular activating system,
right?
So if you're on something on your mind, you'll hit it. So if you say that you want something like a black car,
right,
by a certain time.
Right.
You'll get it.
You'll get it.
Because you want
Focus.
it. Yeah. So if you have a certain amount of money, you'll get it. But if you're not actually focused on the money, because sometimes people feel and know if you're focused on the money, right?
Right.
Value, dollars. Like
if you're too hungry, you're too starving. Yeah. Nobody likes crazy starving people. No. They're dangerous.
It's not a good, and they'll do some crazy stuff.
They'll do some crazy stuff. They'll blow up.
When we first met, there's this crazy guy that we knew. Man, that was scary, man. Yep. I dodged a bullet there.
Yep.
But thank you for, but anyway, on to the non-targeting at money. So when we do things, we're not talking about the money so much. There's a
number target.
Yeah, there's a number target, but we're not at any cost. Going, I need to make the no. It's more like how can we help the other person? And by doing that, all day, every day,
right?
What happens is the money comes,
right?
So it just naturally comes as a result of it, and of course we're aiming for it, but it's not at the forefront of our minds. So if you go on Lofty Homes. And you read.
We're gonna put the link there, so if you're here and you'll be able to be able to follow them. We'll put the link on Lofty Homes, the website. We're gonna have that there, so you can click. It's actually down here. We're gonna have the link right down here for you, so you can just click follow. Yeah, just get it. It's right down there.
Yeah,
man, this is crazy. So how do you? We're having that conversation early today, about raising the children. So we're talking about your beliefs right now.
Mm-hmm.
What kind of father are you?
Question mark, right? How do we know? It's crazy because we're talking about games. We're playing a game of life. We literally
every day
created human beings. So I have two young children with my Danielle, and Audrey is 3 years old right now, and Madison is 1. And holy crap, it's kind of like your parents. My parents grew up with me saying, because I was an asshole kid probably, right? For oldest, bunch of boys, we're just like setting shit on fire, blowing stuff up, and throwing airplanes with firecrackers out of the window.
And they're also working really hard. And remember, I was at a seminar this weekend, and it's like, our parents are consequence of their parents.
Yeah.
And think back then, there no YouTube available. Like no Google. So in order for them to learn, it was
trial and error.
It was passed on.
Yeah. Yes, you're right. It was literally passed on.
Yeah.
And it was. I think in that regard, it was like our time. I think we almost just got passed on.
Yeah.
But then we learned as well.
Right.
So it's the benefit of both getting passed on the values of certain things that my parents instilled in me, and then learning stuff on my own because I was just naturally curious myself. But to answer your question, what kind of father am I? I think I'm a really free father because I will let. No doesn't come out of my mouth very often.
Oh, when they grow up, they're gonna watch this and be like, "Yeah, that not true."
Have I ever said no?
Yeah.
Do I ever say no?
Yeah, that not true.
Yeah. So.
Man, this is fun. I can relate to you, but I'm on the other, I'm on the other extreme. I'm working on that still. It's a learning curve, man. They don't come with a manual.
No.
It's
an accepting. You know what it is? Accepting.
Yeah.
Of what happens.
Right.
Like for me, when they do something, or anybody for that matter, but my kids, when they do something, I'm just accepting of the result.
Yeah.
Whatever it is. They break something, they poke something, they fall, they punch each other, they chop each other in the throats or whatever it is, I will live with the consequences because I allowed it to happen.
Right.
So you have to be able to live with yourself and then be able to live with them living with it.
Right.
So,
right.
So it's a very
thin line.
Dude, it is.
Bro,
crazy.
What are the challenges today? You know, like you've built this amazing business. It's growing. Great timing. You know, the demand is there. Inflation is a big thing. But what are the challenges?
At home, in life, work.
At work and home,
work.
yeah.
Home. All right. So challenges at home would be, I think, just finding the time. No, being present.
Yeah.
Not finding the time. You're there, but are you there?
Yeah.
Right? I'm there, but am I there?
You know, is that phone away?
Yeah.
Right?
So I'm very cognizant. And that's why I read, because the reason why I have the hard copy is because if I'm home, I try not to have the phone in front of me, and it's difficult, you know. So it's kind of like you always want the phone.
If I say that this is my goal right now, my wife will probably watch this and laugh at me. But it's like, it's not, you know, I try, but it's becoming a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but you know what it is? Somebody close to me, a bunch of them, like Ryan has said, are they gonna die? Right. Or no, not the kids. Work. Right.
Right.
Is the person contacting you
gonna
die?
Right.
No. If I don't answer, are they gonna die?
Right.
And I think about it.
So that's a challenge. No, that's a big challenge.
Yeah.
That's a huge challenge.
Yeah, but they won't buy or something. You know what I mean? Or whatever the case may be. So from home, I think it's more just being present. And thank you for reminding me that.
I wanted to thank you.
That's important. So when I get home, it'll be a newfound recharge on being present. You know, all around, not just being there, but
being present.
Yeah, dude.
We constantly have to be reminded of that. I can relate to you, and I want to thank your wife and your 2 little ones for sharing you with me tonight. You know, because I know when you're here, they call to say goodnight, and for you guys who are, you know, watching this, it's a huge sacrifice for us to record, to make this knowledge available to you. When we say yes to this, you know, we're saying no to a lot of things. Dude. Including our little ones.
That is right, man.
No, man, this is great. And as we get close to wrapping this up, I think, you know, this has been such an insightful dialogue of where you came from, how you overcame your struggles, you know, you grew from them. And at each stage, you learn something that you don't wanted to do. You grab those skills, you add those skills into your toolbox. I call them little tools. And eventually you put those tools to work. And not only that, with the right people, the right environment, at the right time, you got lucky. That's what we call luck, right? Mm-hmm. Being prepared in the right environment, and having the skills to deliver, right? The interest. And now, the whole purpose of this podcast is to cover wealth. Right? Wealth from all angles. And earlier I was asking you this. When we translate wealth to Vietnamese, what does it mean? And how's it pronounced it again? Go No Co.
Oh my God.
We had it earlier.
Yao Có. Oh yeah. So Yao Có.
Nhao Co, right?
So Yao Có.
So Nhao Co. Yeah. I'm learning Vietnamese here, guys, to make this work for you.
Yao.
So Nhao Co.
Yao is like rich, wealth, and
then the translation to rich is Nhao Co, right?
Yao, yeah.
Yao Co.
Yeah.
Okay, and both things are associated with
money.
The first thing that comes to mind.
Yeah, first thing that comes to mind usually in people's minds with wealth is having money, right? But as you get older, I said earlier, as I get older.
So that's interesting. You're going to the next question. So wealth and rich to Vietnamese has the same meaning as wealth and rich to Portuguese.
Yeah, I think so.
Completely different alphabet, completely different language, same meaning, associated to a monetary value. But we lived in New England for too long. You're actually born here. And especially in Quincy, Hingham area, we were talking about that earlier. Wealth is very different than just the dollar signs. Now, I asked you this earlier, and we're going to end in this session, in this format. asking you this question. What does wealth means to you today?
I think wealth means to me today is really the biggest thing is health and my family, because again, my Danielle, my 2 kids, they're home, right? And when I'm home with them, that is what matters, even when I'm not there. So the wealth and the money, who cares if it's a fine line, right? Because we all know that by this time, money is really easy to make.
Right.
Simple, easy, hard to make, whatever.
Right.
It could be as hard as you make it. It could be as easy as you make it. But wealth to me is just having somebody, some people to share it with, and it's family, friends, coworkers, and whoever is in that circle, you know. So however big or small that circle is how we can kind of share it all.
That's meaningful, man. That's deep, bro. This was great. I think we covered a lot of your story, of how you started, how you got here. And I hope that, you follow Tony on his social media, that we're going to put it down here. Follow his company. Learn more about his business. If you're in Brazil and you want to learn more how to get, Vietnamese supplies to Brazil, reach out to this guy as well. If you are in the U.S. and you want to learn more about Vietnamese supplies and how you can pay less, cheaper than Chinese supplies, reach out to this guy too, And if you like this, share it. If you don't follow us. I hope to be doing more of these English interviews in the future. And this is it, I appreciate it, man. Thank you for taking the time, for being here. This is like great. I love it. So yeah, we're going to do more of this. Thank you.
Thank you, Tiago.
This is great. Yeah. Beautiful. Don't end it yet, because I do